This week on the Jaguar Week in Review, elementary reporter Brindley Martell checked in with the choir and band directors to learn about their music program. Sports reporter Evan Weiner takes a look at the progress of the boys basketball team and sits down with Coach Goodwin and a few of the players about this season. Last week, high school reporter Casey Stegman met with some of BBE's newest teachers. Now reporter Tayton Linder will visit with some of the most experienced BBE teachers. The Jaguar Week in Review starts now. And welcome to the Jaguar Week in Review. I'm Christian Bentz, and we have a few news stories for you today. Softball for 7th through 12th graders will start on Tuesday, March 12th, and see Mr. Primus for questions. Students interested in participating on the BBE trap team need to register as soon as possible. The deadline is March 20th. New team members need to see Mr. Rogers on how to sign up online. Now, on to news. At the elementary reporter Brindley talked to the choir teacher, Mrs. Gherkin, and band director, Mrs. Tessier, about the elementary music program.
For elementary students, choosing classes is never an option except for when it comes to music. Making decisions with independence for something such as classes can be fun for the first time, and the music program that Mrs. Gherkin and Mrs. Tessier have for the 5th and 6th graders gives them the option to have some of that independence.
So all the classes in K through 6 are in general music. They come to music for a half an hour twice a week. But in 5th and 6th grade, they can choose to be in choir, which is just singing, and they come before school on Wednesdays for a half an hour. And that's all we practice, is just once a week for a half hour.
Band gives students a harder decision to make when they choose the instrument they want to play, knowing that it will be the instrument they will play through their high school careers and possibly even into college or as a career.
In 5th and 6th grade band, they have the option to play flute, alto saxophone, tenor saxophone, clarinet, trumpet, trombone, bass guitar, or percussion.
The elementary choir and band will be having their spring concert on May 15th. We hope to see the community come out and support the kids. Reporting for Jaguar Week in Review, I'm Brindley Martell.
Thanks for that report, Brindley. Now, high school reporter Tayton Linder discusses education with some of BBE's most experienced teachers.
With students coming and going every year, along with several generations going through the BBE school district, some of your parents may have graduated from the district. But some specific teachers may have been here to be able to teach them as well.
I have taught 34 and a half years, and then since the second semester of the year 2013-14, I have been a para and a sub.
Now, let's go see what Mr. Gibson, on his 41st year, has seen for changes around BBE as time has gone by.
I think there's certain years you enjoy more than other years, but I can't say it's early versus late, all right? There's things about right now that I like. There's things about then that I like. For the most part, I think it's not based on when you were young or older. It's based on what happens to the individual people.
A lot of insight with nearly 41 years of experience. Now let's go down the hall a bit to find out a little bit more in the eyes of FACS teacher Mrs. Hagemeyer to see if she prefers her early or later years of teaching and if she feels the same about them.
I would say I like them differently because the early years you were younger and kind of more with what the students were doing, and now you have more experience, and so you can probably help them in different ways.
Thanks for the insight on the years as they have gone by. Reporting for the Jaguar Week in Review, I'm Tayton Linder.
A big thank you to the teachers that took time out of their day to meet with us. Before we move on to sports, community reporter Peyton Van Beck takes a chilly look at our unusual Minnesota winter we are having this year.
This week, we went to talk to students, teachers, and even the Department of Transportation to see how the recent snowfall has affected the community. 2019 has been one of the snowiest winters in recent memory. According to the Department of Transportation, it has also been one of the busiest. This weather has caused 4 delayed starts, 1 early out, and 5 canceled school days for the BBE community. Due to this crazy weather, it has led to abnormal schedules. One person who has had to adapt to this is BBE high school student Riley Lenars.
Well, it's just been kind of crazy with this year because we've had so many different snow days on different school days. So just going to school and then having an off day and then going back to school, it's just kind of hard to adapt to that.
Not only does this weather affect students, it affects teachers as well. Teacher Mr. Goodwin has also had to overcome challenges with shortened schedules and early outs.
A little bit. Obviously, we missed some school, or we missed some classes are having class, some classes don't have class. But for the most part, we're able to work around it, do a little extra one day, or just push it back to the next week and get a few things extra done that week. But affects it a little bit, but for the most part, we can live. It's not that big a deal.
Some people believe e-learning days could be a solid solution for days off. E-learning days are when teachers assign students work during their days off, and it would still count as a completed school day.
Yeah, I would say I'd enjoy e-learning days just because, I mean, you don't have to go on Mondays, back on Mondays and stuff, and it'd be interesting because I know it just helps you with like online classes in college and stuff, so it'll get you in the mindset for that too.
These flurries also have people hoping for warmer weather.
Yeah, baseball's in the spring, so I'm just looking forward to getting out on the field with my friends and having a good time because spring means summer, so.
The cold weather also takes a toll on teachers.
I'm not a huge fan of snow. I like to be out in the summer golfing, so it affects my mood maybe. I want to be outside.
Students and teachers are looking forward to spring, but for now, they will have to enjoy some hot chocolate. Reporting for the Jaguar Week in Review, I'm Peyton Van Beck.
Thank you for that interesting report, Peyton. And now on to sports. The boys basketball team has had some ups and downs, but is managing well in this year's playoffs. Sports reporter Evan Weiner brings us this week's report.
With their season coming to a close, the BBE boys basketball team is hard at work preparing for the playoffs. The team has had a good season so far with their current record standing at 14-12. The team has several strengths that they are banking on as they move forward.
I thought it went pretty well. I believe we had a 14-12 record, so that's above 500 going into the season. We kind of knew going in with the Central Minnesota Conference that we'd be somewhere in the top, and we battled with most every team every night. Had a couple of tough losses in there, but
for the most part, the losses were close and we had a chance in each game. Switching to a player's point of view, Will Van Beck recaps how his season went as a freshman starter. With a good attitude and good work ethic, he came into the season with high hopes.
3 senior starters helped, and just like helping me out, talking to me and stuff, calming me down sometimes.
The BBE boys basketball team were led by their senior class. We visited with senior Dylan Meyer to fill us in on his last season with the BBE Jaguars.
It feels kind of weird because in the past seasons, you could just kind of say there's always next year, but this is really it for us 6 seniors, so it's just a weird feeling. My advice to younger players would be always have a good attitude and make sure you're having fun all the time because there's a limited amount of time you have to play the game.
The boys finished third in the Central Minnesota Conference behind Eden Valley Watkins and Maple Lake. Reporting for the Jaguar Week in Review, I'm Evan Weiner.
Thank you for that report, Evan. That's all the time we have for this week's episode. Tune in next week when we take a look at today's career fair, the 6th graders, and how they use their win time, and the girls basketball team. Be sure to follow us on YouTube and subscribe to the Jaguar Week in Review on iTunes and Google Play Store. We will see you next week.